Hey there, subscribers. Well, I've got to say, I couldn't really hold myself back, as you can see from playing some more in this online region before recording the next video. Yep, I extensively developed this tile over here called Astoria, so I might as well go on and show you that. Yeah, this is the first area where I actually built any development in this region, and it also happens to contain what I consider probably my smoothest looking RHW interchange that I have built to date. And in addition to that, I really like how a lot of other things turned out. For instance, the railway line, which doesn't even have a station in this tile, but I think it cuts quite a nice path. Excuse me. And just in general, I think that the residential development turned out pretty cool. It looks a lot like a realistic sort of eastern US type suburb, although the terrain I wouldn't say quite matches that region. Yeah, you can really see what's going on here. I posted a screenshot of this interchange in the surrounding neighborhood on Metropolis and NC4 Devotion and on Reddit, so you might already be familiar with it if you follow those sites. Yeah, over here it looks like I have this road going here. It looks like my neighbor over to the west, that would be the Game Trent, has actually widened the road on his side, so I'll have to get around to reworking this neighbor connection here for mine. This is the railway I was talking about. It snakes pretty nicely over along the coast here. Yeah, that ding you heard just now is TeamSpeak. We have a channel set up for all the people working on this region so we can coordinate when we're actually playing so that we don't create any conflicts in the Dropbox folder. Anyway, yeah, this is the interchange I was talking about. You can see it's got some really nice acceleration lanes, and yeah, just in general, it's got deceleration lanes too. Nice wide exit ramps, or nice long exit ramps, I mean. They're also pretty wide too, though. Turns into these avenues here at this main 6-lane avenue. And yeah, I don't know, I think it turned out pretty nicely. Although there is a bit of a problem on this side of the neighbor connection. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a minute once I rejoin you in the region view. Okay, so here I am at the region view, and as you might be able to tell, a huge amount has happened in the other players' cities as well as the areas I've staked claim to. So I might as well go into the area I was talking about just a moment ago, over here Cantrick, and tell you what the problem is. So here we are in Cantrick. It's by far the biggest city of the region, as well, should probably be immediately apparent from the huge number of high-rises here in the city center. And that's pretty much all the city. Well, no, not really. There are some nice suburbs too, right at the border. Or they aren't really suburbs when they're this close to a CBD, but you know what I mean. Also a lot of decent-looking industrial areas. Honestly, the Game Trent, the creator of the city, he's not that bad at what he does. He uses smooth curves, you know, he definitely plans things out before he builds them. I'm not usually a fan of this all high density style, and I won't say that it definitely sort of tickles my fancy to see it here, but at the same time, you know, this guy, at least he's professional about what he does. He's kind of a Hal Jackie style player like that, and most people respect Hal Jackie a lot, so I think that's a pretty big compliment. Yeah, and anyway, this is the rail line that eventually joins up in Astoria, and I just said this guy uses smooth curves, so I must have not noticed that there, that he didn't use them here. Well, that's really an easy fix. He probably will put them in once he starts working on this area a little bit more. Anyway, the problem is, as you can see, the main highway comes in here from Astoria, and it is the main east-west connection through the center of the region. It's the only east-west freeway connection that actually goes between the most populated cities, but as you can see here, I talked to him before I built this neighbor connection, and I asked him, are you willing to build an interchange with your highway? And he said, yeah, sure, that's no problem, so I went ahead and built it. But what he's done here is he's degraded it to TLA7, it looks like, straight through his industrial area, tons of at-grade intersections, and then over here, it just goes into a normal exit interchange. Yeah, that's not really what I was thinking about. You can see I left a lot of signs here with what I really want him to do with this area, and honestly, I would be willing to build it myself, you know, but I'm not going to go ahead and do that without his permission, of course, so I left these signs. Yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on in this city. It has definitely expanded a lot since the last time I've been here. This viaduct, though, the Avenue Viaduct, it still goes through pretty much entirely empty area. Hopefully he'll get to working on this quadrant of the city before too long, so it will look a bit more natural. Anyway, I'll meet you back in the region view and we'll check out a couple other cities. Alright, here we are back at the region view, and I feel I might as well keep working my way west. So let's check out Deltoid and East Deltoid here. By Idiota, because those cities have also expanded significantly since I was here last. Right, here we are, and damn, it really does look a lot different from last time. Well, to be honest, I don't remember that well how it looked last time, but you know, this whole highway structure is new with a nice Chicago or Kansas City style interchange sequence. Well, I really shouldn't equate this to those cities because this is a bit different with the left exits and entrances from some of the famous interchanges in those areas, or exit sequences rather. But yeah, I don't know, it's looking alright. It's definitely got his highway going all around the city, and now I really hope that the highway coming north from Cantrick, Trent City, actually will end up having an interchange with this one. He'll have to demolish one of these exits, so I'm a little bit doubtful, but you know, if that does end up happening, that'll be good. Or wait a minute, I'm actually totally off. Cantrick is a tile over to the right, so it wouldn't even enter in this tile, it'll enter in East Deltoid. So we'll go into that tile next, and I will see if there's space for the highway interchange then. Yeah, so, I don't know, it's kind of a cool looking downtown area. I like how he's done these overpasses over the rail line straight through the center of the CBD. You know, he's not too many skyscrapers, there's way too much medium density for my taste, but at least he understands the concept of balance between the three densities. And that's a lot more than you can say about a lot of players, you know, even Trent, like, he doesn't get that as well as Idiota does over here. And man, this is also the most extensive railway system of any of the cities in this region so far. I'm going to be I'm definitely not planning to build any railway systems this extensive in any of the tiles I've started so far at least. But, yeah, I don't know, it's looking pretty good. It's definitely looking a ton better from the last time I went here. Last time I think the entire area was pretty much dominated by mansions, if I remember correctly, and that's definitely not the case anymore. Really only in a few of these southern neighborhoods here, and even then, not so much. He's put in a lot of this Central European wall-to-wall stuff, which breaks it up quite nicely, and it goes well with all the medium density, so hey, I don't know, I really can't criticize too much. Alright, here we are in East Deltoid, and, ooh, yeah, not too much new has really happened here, aside from some new farms, I think. Yeah, I think that's about it, and as you can see, there actually is plenty of room for a full highway T interchange here. So I really hope that Idiota will get on building that, so that we can have a nice connected highway system between all the player cities. But yeah, he also really needs to get on fixing some of these roads here, and yeah, there are a lot of those, and adding on in some trees, because we've been doing that on the in-progress tiles generally in the last few days. So yeah, hopefully pretty soon this will look a lot more advanced. Anyway, I'll meet you back at the region view. Alright, so this is the region view again, and there's just one more tile over here to the west, New Cumberland by Ben. Ben, he's actually the most recent player to have been added to this region, and at this point, we pretty much decided that we don't want to add more people because the potential for conflict with the Dropbox folder is just too great. But anyway, this city tile, New Cumberland, I haven't even checked it out once yet. So this is all new to me. Here, let me fast forward a bit just so that I don't have to look at those scaffoldings. Oof, well, more up here. Oh, whatever, I'll just look at it like this. Alright. Is that all one lot? Yeah. Suburban townhouse development. I don't think that's something I installed. Maybe it is actually. It's a really cool looking lot regardless, even though it is abandoned. You see a lot of developments like that in modern US cities that are sort of trying to look for an older flavor in the newest housing developments. Anyway, not too much going on here yet. Wow, this is super homogeneous over here with these apartments. I wonder if that's on purpose. Are these historical? Nope, that just grew that way. So it looks like this guy has really just gotten started, and he hasn't really gotten too much in the way of customizing his lots yet. Alright, I like how these Camelot apartments look all in a row though. Although it looks like the query for them is broken, that kind of sucks. I'll have to see if I can fix that pretty soon. Yeah, anyway, what else is there to see here? Looks like he built some farms. Some of them are fair-sized, so that's good to see. Well, yeah, he's got power lines, not too interesting there. Really isolated industrial district over here, and doesn't even have any road connections to other cities yet. Doesn't look like he has a single neighbor connection, so that might be why the development around here is looking a bit derpy to start with. But hopefully after he really starts on the city in earnest, he will get on building those and we'll see a sea change. Anyway, I'll see you back in the region view. We'll start looking at the central and eastern parts of the region. Yeah, so before we go and look at from outer suburbia city of Santa Ana right here, I figure I might as well talk about this area a little bit. The game trend, looks like he's really staking his claim further south. Similar to what I did, he probably wants to control a solid slice of the map around here, and that's cool with me, so I'm not going to complain about that. The more development further south, really, the better, because it will connect up with my stuff over here. Anyway, he said earlier that his plan for the city of Florence here is to have it be more of a heavily industrial city, and there will very likely be a rail link and a real highway link across this river here. So yeah, those will probably eventually connect to my city of Cranston, so those are definitely things that concern me. The highway will in turn, I think it actually has quite a few intersections through Santa Ana, but as you can see, it is an RHW, and it does become a full freeway sort of in the eastern part of the tile, and I have a few interchanges ahead of me that I still have to build, as you can see, before it reaches Hawking, the second largest city in the region, created by the founder of the region. And then yeah, he's also staked his claim to quite the huge landmass over here, and this highway, yeah, it's going to be the main connection through the mountains over here, or at least in the southern half of the region, so that's kind of crucial. Anyway, let's go into Santa Ana. I'll meet you there. Okay, here we are. It looks like he's zoomed in very close over on this Av6 here. Let's see what it connects up to. This is the one that connects to Astoria, right? Yeah, you might remember that Av6 that interchanged in the Parklow with the highway there, the interchange that I said I thought was maybe the smoothest I built in my RHW career. Yeah, this avenue connects straight up to that. It's a true straight shot. And it looks like it doesn't really curve too much through this city tower either. Yep, not at all. It just kind of ends into an Av4 at an awkward intersection over here. I hope he's planning to fix this up a bit. Hopefully when he grade separates this rail, if he's planning to do that. the project will come into play. Anyway, yeah, this guy, he's also fairly new to the region. We just added him, I think, a few hours before Ben, who built, what was it called? Like New Bellingham or something? New Cunningham? I completely forget and I'm butchering the name of it. I'm sorry about that. Especially after I offered so much criticism for your city, I feel bad. Sorry. Yeah, anyway, this is from Outer Suburbia City. This is the RHW I was talking about. It's going to be, it looks like I'm going to be making it an RHW 6S in my city just to match up with this. It has this nice half interchange here going into these two avenues. And yeah, I consider this to be pretty much the equivalent of an avenue since it has only at-grade intersections. And honestly, what I kind of hope he would do here is upgrade this to an avenue throughout. Like, kind of, you can see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, it's going to take just a moment. Whoops, I kind of ruined his override there. Sorry. So I'm not going to say this one, I'm just showing you what I'm talking about. So you can actually drag one-way road through like that in order to have this type of intersection, and that's what I've done in a couple of cities that I've built before, where I've used this kind of configuration with the wide RHW4 with at-grade intersections, and I think that it looks a lot better than narrowing the road like this. But yeah, I'll probably try to tell him about that at some point if he doesn't figure out himself pretty soon. So anyway, what he could also do is transition the RHW4 to one-way road. I think that's actually how I did it in my cities, but yeah, never mind. Yeah, anyway, it looks like a pretty gritty city for the most part. It's got a big industrial area over here along the avenue that goes straight into my suburbs. Oh well, it's not that bad of a location. It's nice at this fork in the river. I like how he's labeled it temporary bridge there. I think the waterfront is usually a pretty natural looking place for industrial zones, so no complaints there. Yeah, he hasn't really pushed the medium and high density quite as much as a lot of the other players in the region too, so that's a good thing to see, at least if you have the same priorities that I do. And damn, I actually really like how this commercial area has turned out. Are these all growable? You know, yeah, I think probably they are. I think, and the queries are all broken. I think that these are sim goober lots, so yeah, I definitely will want to look into fixing the queries for his stuff. Anyway, what else is there to see here? A couple of irregularly shaped farms that are probably going to disappear before too long because I'm planning to have a big city on this side of the border, and I'm sure that he's planning on expanding quite a bit as well since this is the only tile he's claimed so far. Can I query this one thing? Nope, doesn't even give me a lot title. That's a shame. Anyway, how does his rail line look? He just built this rail line actually since the last time I checked the city out. It was at my suggestion. I just built a neighbor connection for it over here, and there actually isn't really anything on the other side of the border right now, but he went ahead and expanded it anyway. Yeah, it's nice and wide through here, close to the station, with 4 tracks. And it goes through the industrial area. That rail interchange is kind of derpy, but I have a feeling it probably is temporary since there does seem to be quite a bit of temporary stuff around this neighborhood. And then it goes on toward the west, where it will probably hook up to the Florence City tile, crossing over a bridge over a river. Yeah, so that's a pretty solid bet. Looks like he has a bit of a mansion probably going on, unfortunately, but that's pretty easy to fix if you want to fix it. So it's not the biggest issue. Anyway, I will meet you back at the region view and we'll check out another couple tiles. Okay, so I showed you south of my city of Astoria Now I figure I might as well show you north because Coast Runner, I gave him a shout out in my previous video, was probably my favorite developer so far among my region co-collaborators. Well, I don't know. Everybody really in this region has a different sort of set of strengths, so I shouldn't say that. That's being very unfair. And there are a lot of people that do certain stuff well that he doesn't do so well, you know, to be super critical about it. And yeah, I know I'm being really harsh in this, but hey. Sometimes, you know, I call it constructive criticism, right? Anyway, I'll go on in and check out the city tile of Baltija. Okay, here we are in Baltija. As you can see, this railway just kind of terminates in a very large station on the main avenue over here, and he only built this railway actually at my suggestion, so, you know, I'm glad that he brought it at least a little bit of distance to something significant, and it's a great public transit connection sort of between his tile and between the large city to the west, and it looks like it gets some very heavy use. So as soon as I run the simulator in Astoria, I'm sure I will be seeing a lot of trains going along the single track rail there. Yeah, and this interstate here, this was also his idea to build, and no, the rail was my idea, the interstate was his idea. Well, I really can't call it an interstate because, as you can see, it has this at-grade intersection here. Let me check something out really quick. Draw paths. Is that going to work? Maybe if I capitalize it? No. I thought I installed... In fact, I'm just about positive I installed the extra cheats DLL for this region, but for some reason it just doesn't seem to work half the time. It's very frustrating. Yeah, so I wanted to see exactly what this little street connection, you see it's only one lane wide, what it's actually good for, because it's hard to imagine that it's a two-way connection, but I have a feeling that it's probably pathed that way. So I don't know. I guess I'll figure that out another time. Yeah, this neighbor connection was all me. Hopefully, eventually these farms will disappear and there will be some upgrades to be seen there. Yeah, it looks like he's planning a lot of new roads in this area from his other tile to the east, that's Pembleton. So, yeah, that's cool. Anyway, I don't know if I really noticed before, but when I featured this city in my videos, but it is absolutely full of cul-de-sacs, and that's a pretty cool feature, you know. Very creative road network around here, and that's this guy's strength. But it would be so much better looking if you were to use some smooth curves. And yeah, I hope that that's a change that's gonna come in the future. It's probably too late for this particular city tile, but I have a pretty strong positive feeling for where this guy's cities could go if he started to really utilize those. Anyway, yeah, big industrial district. When I checked the city out before, I think the farms started somewhere around here, around this road 2, and all this stuff is new. This stuff is actually not new, so you've probably seen it before, so I won't waste too much time. Yeah, there's no real development on the main island, or not the main island, on his main island in this city tile. So I will just leave it for now, and I will meet you in Pembleton. Okay, here is Pembleton, and man, I can already spot a fair number of new stuff. The last time I was here, all of these avenues were already here, but this one, which continues from this avenue here, was pretty much just a bypass through dense forest with nothing much built off of it. Besides this industrial area over here, a lot of this is also older. But yeah, this whole neighborhood up here, which looks like it's pretty heavy on the turnarounds and cul-de-sacs. Yeah, those roundabout style turnarounds, definitely. Yeah, this is all new. I think that this secondary business district here, it might also be new. Let me check. Yeah, no. This has been here for a while. But everything to the west over here, that's a new addition. And I think that there's been quite a bit of filling out going on in this area with more residential zones as well. Although this area around this lake with a very circular road pattern and a bunch of dendritic cul-de-sacs that I never noticed before. It looks really cool, honestly. Only has this one connection to the main road network right here, though. Yeah, I think all this stuff is also older too, and that. But this area, these two areas, or subdivisions, I guess you could say, are new. Ooh, looks like he's got to rebuild a neighbor connection though. Yeah. Anyway, one other thing about the Coast Runner is that he is also a fellow YouTuber, and I was just talking to him in the TeamSpeak, and I told him about my channel, and yeah, he says he has his own, and he has a few SimCity 4 videos up there, although they're all rather old, so I haven't checked his channel out yet, but, you know, he's one of my collaborators, so you should definitely give that a look. His channel name is CoastRunner27, all one word, and the 27 is numbers, of course. Yeah, CoastRunner27. So yeah, I'm not saying you have to check it out, but if you are someone who is desperate for new SimCity 4 content to watch all the time the way I am, then you might want to. Yeah, so anyway, this road here, it connects to the road I built on camera last time in Manzanita, and yeah, I'm actually planning on upgrading this to an avenue once I go back there and continue development, because I have a feeling that Coast Runner here is probably going to want to upgrade this road to an avenue at some point as a bypass for the freeway over there, which just kind of ends unceremoniously into a very dense street grid, and yeah, it's not the best way to get access over here, even though there is there? Yeah, there is a direct avenue connection, so you're never on a two-lane road, but yeah, that's just a lot of traffic lights to deal with. Anyway, I will meet you back at the region view, and we'll find a couple more tiles to tour. Alright, I was getting a ton of beeping noises from TeamSpeak back there, and I'm new to the program, so I don't really know how to turn them off. Sorry about that. I muted the sound now though, so problem should be over. Anyway, the logical next place to check out, I suppose, would be Hawking, and yeah, it hasn't changed quite as much as some of these cities like Cantrick has, but it is also, I mean, there have been some great improvements done here, so I really do want to give you guys a bit of a view of that, and we might as well start out by looking at the four-way cloverleaf interchange here, which is new. So I'll load up the South Hawking tile right away. Okay, cool. Here we are in Hawking, and as you can see, whoa, excuse me, this area, it has a nice gridded network of streets that have already been built, but it has yet to actually be developed. So the cloverleaf here, I just thought I might give you guys a quick view of it because it's new, and this guy Lausimera, you know, or Lausimera, I have no idea how to say his name, he actually used some cosmetic pieces in it, which I think is pretty cool, although they aren't the pieces I would have used, since there's no indication if you're coming from one of these loop ramps here that if you stay in your lane you can get off. It looks like the lane just ends if you look at the marking there, but still, you know, I mean, it's cosmetic pieces, that's good stuff. And also he uses RHW4 ramps for every single connection, which is awesome. That means that you can drive on this at relatively high speed. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to look at in this tile, and I will meet you back in the neighbor tile to the north, which is the main downtown area of Hawking. Okay, so here we are at the Hawking waterfront, and I must say, it may not be the largest city in the region anymore, what with Cantrick bumping nearly 250,000 population, but it does definitely look the most urban in a lot of ways, you know, with all of these plopped concrete textures, you know, this awesome looking curved bridge built on fill over here. Yeah, a lot of stuff in that way, and not to mention the waterfront plops. Yeah, it's also an extremely orderly city, which makes it a nice city to have as a neighbor, since you know this guy isn't going to be pulling any wild cards with our neighbor connections or anything. But yeah, I think it's turned out pretty well, besides the mansions, of course. Yeah, I definitely did not see this many mansions last time I looked in this tile. And it looks like we're facing south right now, so let me rotate that. Yeah, this looks a lot better. So yeah, this is the downtown area right here, and that's the region the population is lower, is because he has really only contained his mid-rises and high-rises to that area. Well, except for some along this main avenue here. And yeah, these two avenues here, they connect straight to Manzanita, where they serve, where they merge into a single Ave4, which connects over the bridge over there, and eventually to the highway heading to Astoria and Cantrick, as well as further south at the Trumpet interchange I built in the last video. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on here. Let me see if I can spot anything in particular that's new or interesting. Over here, over here it looks like honestly he could stand to build another half interchange, kind of like this one right here, but to the south of this exit, just for symmetry's sake. Or actually, what I would really be tempted to do if I were the one running the city would be to turn this whole area into OWR2 frontage roads and have the exits and entrances connect to that, if anything. Maybe you could just get rid of this central exit altogether, to be honest. Yeah, so that's a cool idea. Anyway, yeah, this guy's gotten a lot better at building interchanges, kind of as he's done more work in this region. Let's see if the first interchange, the very first interchange he built still looks the same, and really there's room enough to use the smooth curve right here. He doesn't even need an extra tile to get rid of these sharp curves, but it would break the override unless I could somehow, or he could somehow add a puzzle piece in, which would in turn involve moving something and breaking the override of something else. So it's a messy situation in general. And honestly, it's really only got the one weak spot for the interchange, so hey, I've definitely seen so much worse. And this guy's recent stuff actually looks pretty polished, as you just saw in the other tile. So yeah, really not too much more to talk about as far as this region. This seaport area is looking more cramped by the day, though, as he adds more things built on fill in this area. So I don't know if that'll really be able to stay where it is, because the ships, you know, they don't really have room to turn as it is. But hey, you know, you can't really sweat the small stuff. You look at my city of Lagos and Prospect Bay, and it is almost as bad in those terms. Plus, it serves bigger container ships, where this is just the original Maxis seaport. It's mostly break bulk, although there are some container props on it right there. And I never knew it was animated before. I don't think I'd actually built any of these seaports, or maybe just one or two, before I installed CDK3. Yeah, you know, as far as just having a Maxis slot to break up the monotony, though, it's not the worst thing. And Lau Samara, he does a lot of other stuff that I think is pretty cool and professional. Like, he likes to use the same parking lot pack that I use almost exclusively, the paid parking lots. And he's really got them all over his downtown, and lots of different versions of them. So that's pretty cool. Looks like he installed that modular 2-level garage that's on Centropolis, and he's missing a few dependencies here, so hopefully he fixes that up, because he probably noticed that as soon as he plopped it. Anyway, I might as well check out some of this other guy's work. Yeah, so I figure I might as well check out the northern tile of Hawking, because I'm not sure that anything new has actually happened here per se, but I also don't think that I actually showed this off in my last video, so I might as well just go for it, right? Alright, I'm gonna load it up now. Okay, so here we are in the city tile, and yeah, it looks like it hasn't been developed recently at all, because I added water pipe removing mod, and it looks like he hasn't played since then. And somebody actually posted on the subreddit for this region that they wanted to remove it, so you know, I said go ahead and do it, but they didn't do it yet. So anybody who's played in the last couple days at least has been using that mod, and it looks like Samara has not played this tile in the last couple days. Let me just actually run this a little bit to validate that the water will work. But wait a minute, actually it might be displaying that there's no water because he ran out. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So it looks like he just had one pipe or something and it wasn't enough. What's this lot right here? Is that a growable? Yeah, that's pretty massive if it's a growable, but it's a cool looking lot regardless. Nice industrial lot. Yeah, this area is pretty vanilla looking, to be honest. Very gritty, but hey, you know, it's a nice coastal community, so you can't hate on that. And I do like how the RHW6 kinda, it ends a little bit elegantly into these OWR3s. So that's cool. This exit here, it's kind of, you know, it's not the perfect solution because somebody's going to have to take a couple extra turns if they want to exit and go left, or go left in order to enter the highway. But hey, you know, again, it's a very functional exit style. You could use some merge lanes here, although I guess it is kind of excusable since this basically is defaulting to a surface road already. And it is a full grade freeway in the tile further south, so hey, there is that. Yeah, anyway, not too much more to see about this area. A lot of farms. The waterfront is not as much concrete on the waterfront as in the other city to the south, although it does have a fair-sized downtown area with lots of these tenements here. Very Upper West Side, if you ask me. Not Upper West Side, but what do you call the area of Manhattan that's like the far northwestern area? Washington Heights, right? Yeah, I think that's it. Very Washington Heights to me. Oh man, you can tell I don't know my New York as well as I should. I want to go there again. I've only really been once as an adult, and it was a heck of a lot of fun. Yeah, anyway, I guess I will meet you back in the region view, and we will check out one last tile of Samara. Okay, so as you can see, Samara has claimed a huge, humongous amount of land. Honestly, I was feeling a little bit bad when I claimed 5 tiles right here, because nobody else had claimed quite that many tiles. I mean, Coast Runner technically had pretty much claimed 5 tiles because he has these 4, plus this tile is pretty much his, and so is this, for that matter, because who else is going to build here, you know, surrounded by his stuff with no connection to anybody else's areas? Yeah, but I don't know. Anyway, Samara, though, he really went ham, so that makes me feel a bit better about it. Anyway, he also started building this highway with a ton of fractional angle curves. So I'm going to actually check it out where it goes through this handmade mountain pass here. Yeah, Samara, he posted a screenshot of this highway going through the mountain pass on our region subreddit, so I know he's probably feeling pretty good about it. The tree controller definitely, you know, I mean, these tree controllers are made to work best with slopes, and we're playing a mostly flat region, and frankly, that kind of sucks for it. But yeah, it looks pretty cool on these hills, even though the hills, they really aren't the most realistic terrain features you've ever seen, but I mean, you can only get it so good when you're terraforming by hand and in-game. Yeah, these cliffs though could probably cut down on it by installing a new terrain mod or tweaking the one we're using, but I wouldn't call that a big priority. Anyway, yeah, you can see he has used a lot of fractional angle curves here, and, well, I'm going to sound really vain here, but I like to think that that's been my influence on this region, because he didn't build any of those before I came in pretty much, and I spent a couple days, you know, just going ham building fractional angle highways, and especially tons and tons of fractional angle roads and railways, and and right after I did that, La Samara built a bunch of fractional angle curves on his highways. So, you know, I like to think that, you know, one hand scratches the other's back, right? Yeah, so that's about all there is to see here, of course. And there's only one or two more tiles left to check, I think, before the only ones left are the ones that I've developed. Alright, as you can see here, this is a pretty big region. How wide is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so 6 by 10. That's not quite as big as Yakutat Bay. I think it's about the same size as Prospect Bay, actually. It might be a little bit larger, though. Yeah, I actually completely forget what the exact sizes of both those regions are. But hey, this is still a pretty big region, and we are filling it out fast because we're a lot of people. But, you know, it's still a considerable amount of work. Anyway, I've said there might be one or two more tiles left to check out. I lied. There's only the one. There's barely anything to see there. Mowgli B, he's, I think, the third most recent member to be added to the region, and he hasn't really started building yet, but we'll still check out what he's built so far, and I'll offer some scathing criticism, most likely. Well, maybe it'll be compliments. Who knows? I have yet to see it, actually. Okay, so here we are in Bellingham, and yeah, this guy, he's pretty much put some trees into place in his city tile. It's got a relatively interesting terrain around here, although I don't know how I feel about how narrow the waterway gets right there. Well, you know, might be that there's some terraforming still left to be done around here. Let me get rid of that grid. And it looks like he hasn't built anything so far besides this railway here. Burlington train station, I'll have to remember that because it actually looks decent. Yeah, and a few commercial zones and no power yet, really nothing else. So yeah, nothing too much going on here. Anyway, I'll meet you back in the region view and we'll get on to the next phase of this tour. Actually, I did exit the tile just a moment ago, but I feel like I should make some kind of, you know, comment about this waterway right here. And yeah, I'm gonna make a little sign here. I've done that in a couple of other people's city tiles so far, and it seems like a fairly effective way of reaching people, since they're gonna see it as soon as they start work on their tile. So I'll write something right here. Maybe, hey man, yeah. Are you totally done terraforming the terrain in this tile? If no, I think that this waterway would look a lot cooler in the region view if you widened it to match the width of the river. What? That's a bit too far up. Rivers further further south. We put a little smiley face to show that I'm not just criticizing, but rather trying to offer some help. And one beer. Alright, yeah, so that's pretty much how I've been trying to communicate with my neighbors when issues like this arise and I have a suggestion to impart. And nobody's done it so far on my tiles yet, but hopefully I'll be, this will catch on and I'll be receiving some feedback myself soon. That'll be pretty cool. So yeah, I will meet you back in the region view for real this time. Okay, so that was that tile. Now let's go miles and miles further west, and you see the corridor of the tiles that I claimed. Now originally I was planning on claiming these 4 tiles right here, but then from outer suburbia founded Santa Ana literally a few hours after I had been contemplating claiming this tile for myself. So he was actually super courteous about it when I mentioned that. It was almost hard to talk him out of abandoning the tile he wanted to do so much to appease me, but hey, I think that his tile has turned out pretty cool, and frankly, you have to roll with the punches with a collaborative project like this, and I was able to adjust quite rapidly by turning my land. Instead of building in a clump, I decided to build in a corridor, which I think will be pretty cool, because that means that all of the interregional connections from east to west will have to go through my territory and on highways that I build. So, hey, it's a little perk right there. Yeah, there's quite a bit of work left to do. You've already seen everything that I've done in Manzanita and Astoria, but I've also started work on 3 tiles further south. So I'll start out by showing you the tile that has the least going on in it so far, and that is Cranston. Originally this was called Paulsville, but that tile, it was lost in some conflict or something, and I didn't even bother recovering it because there was nothing there yet. So now there actually is something here, and yeah, we will go in there right now. Okay, here is Cranston. As you can see, there is really nothing going on here for now besides some trees and some transportation networks that I've gone ahead and built out just to be sure where they will end up. And yeah, obviously this RHW 6C is not going to have at-grade intersections in the end, but I just put them in there for now, kind of as a placeholder. And I hope nobody's getting the wrong idea from that. I have a bad feeling that maybe Trent saw what I did with the highway here and he was like, okay, so it's cool to have our highways turn into surface streets because that's what Jabi is doing. And yeah, I hope that's not the idea he got. Anyway, yeah, there's this rail here where I just kind of built the neighbor connection going into nothing, just a loop as you can see here. But from outer suburbia has already expanded it considerably in his tile all the way to border on the other side, so I'm pretty much obligated to continue it through to my main north-south railway over here, and I'll have some kind of small interchange there. And I'm also thinking I want to build some kind of rail line branching off toward the east as well, but I don't know about that. I should really ask Lausimera first, since he is the founder of the region, and I don't want him to kick me out for building neighbor connections willy-nilly into his cities. Yeah, so this road here is going to eventually be a 6-lane avenue throughout the city tile, basically just a straight shot down, and I've just built it as a road 2 for now, because that seems a little less ridiculous looking for the fact that there's nothing here. Same goes for this east-west highway. I just built it as a road 2 for most of the way here. And eventually there's going to be a 4-way interchange over here. And I was originally planning a 3-way interchange, but then on the spur of the moment I thought, what the hell? So I built an RHW neighbor connection to From Outer Suburbia's tile over there, and for the longest time he didn't make use of it. So I thought, maybe I won't actually have to build a 4-way interchange here, even though I entertained the idea for a short while. I was like, whew, okay, so that's off of my plate. But as you saw, it looks like last night or this morning, he just continued it over into his tile. Even though it does have intersections there, it does have the one interchange. So I really I wouldn't feel good if I were to turn it into a surface street over here right before this interchange, disrupting where he's basically isolating the freeway portion that he's built. So I am going to have to eventually build this as a four-way interchange, and as you probably know from my other videos, I'm not very good at four-way interchanges, so it does seem like a bit of a daunting task, but if I really am going to be building two of them in this region, it's an opportunity to get better, right? Anyway, not too much else to see here. This road 2 here kind of goes north and south along the east side of the river for a huge distance, pretty much from an intersection with the main avenue over in Manzanita all the way to the southern border of the region. So it's one of the longest straight roads in the region, even though it is quite curvy. It is relatively straight. Yeah, this rail line, it continues almost as far, honestly, although it does cross the river at one point. Like I said, that about covers it for here. As you might be able to tell from the type of layout that I used here, I am really planning to build my mega city in this tile. I'm just going to fill pretty much this whole rectangular area with straight streets and zones. And I am looking forward to that a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun. I wonder why all the trees are demolished over... Oh, I demolished them. Didn't I? Did I? I don't even know. Yeah, I think I did, because I had a little loop similar to this thing for this rail line before I extended it south. So I think I just didn't bother to replant any trees after I demolished that. Yeah, for a minute I thought somebody else was loading up my city tile and saving it, but nah, not this time. Anyway, so that about covers it for here, and I will meet you in the next city tile further south. Okay, so the next tile south is Banks. And yeah, it's not the most interesting place so far. Probably the most interesting thing about it is just a giant... Well, I don't know. I'm just gonna go in there and show you instead of telling you about it from a distance where you can't see anything. Okay, so here we are. That was nice and fast. As you can see, I elected not to continue the RHW as a full multi-lane highway here. It doesn't have any intersections, so I figured that, I might as well not push it. And, yeah, that's pretty much the deal. Over here, it doesn't connect perfectly because I did actually continue the full freeway on the other side. So eventually I'll have to come back and fix this up when I get to really building out the city. But anyway, as you can see here, the grid pattern here is kind of, if anything, a prototype for how Cranston will look immediately to the north. I'm probably going to have a few more major roads in Cranston, though it's not going to be, well, it is going to be very heavy on the streets, similar to here. But yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Over here, this road 2 that kind of cuts east-west from the main drag over to here, that I'm probably going to upgrade to an AV4 at some point. I'm going to have to demolish this whole commercial strip along the southern side of the road, though. And also, I'm going to have to probably get rid of these 2 sports fields as well and move them somewhere else. So it'll be a pretty destructive project. I'm going to have to move 2 bus stops too, it looks like. But yeah, it's not the biggest deal. Over there, that's kind of derp. I'm not going to bother saving this tile right now, though, because I'm not really going to do anything significant. Yeah, that's pretty much what there is to see. Here's that really long road I was talking about earlier. Just goes straight through the tile. Or actually, no, it doesn't continue through the tile here. This is the only gap in that road right here. So actually, if you want to follow it, you have to take a left over at this road and follow this one, which continues straight down. It's a direct connection to the original village of Paulsville to the south, which I'll be showing you in a minute. There are actually 2 settlements in that city tile. And the other settlement, you access it by following the highway, or by following this road or this road, or the rail line for that matter. Anyway, that's about all there is to see here. I don't know. I really like how the park over here turned out, and I also like how the parking lots and the industrial zones work together in a lot of ways. But yeah, so far there's really not too much going on here. Less than 5,000 population. What do you expect? So I will meet you over down in Paulsville, I guess. Alright, this is it, the original village of Paulsville. Yeah, this is the first area I built in the tile, just rotating so that we're looking north, so it's easy to tell what's what. Yeah, it's got a tiny suburban neighborhood right there, and it's got an older style, sort of small town type deal going on here. Lots of trees. It's got kind of a main street right here, with lots of industrial uses on the other side of it from the main town, and a railway. That's something I see in a lot of small towns in the US in Google Maps. Eventually, I don't know, I kind of want to build a rail station here, but we don't have the SFBT stations installed right now, so those are the ones I would want to use in this case. And yeah, I could probably convince people to agree to allow me to just go ahead and install those, so I guess I probably will be building it eventually, but just not yet. Yeah, over here, this is the same rail line that went through the center of Banks, just a tile further north. So if we follow its course, it has an at-grade intersection over this road, which is the one that you had to get onto to take as the continuation to the river road, and then in order to get back on the river road you would have to take a right over here at this FAR3 intersection, the first of its kind I've ever built actually. I think it looks cool, you know, it's a nice little change of pace. And yeah, the river road does continue through the entirety of this tile, although I probably am going to realign a little bit of it to get rid of some of these unnecessary curves here. And it continues pretty far south until it just abruptly dead ends at nothing right there. I just felt like it would be a bit excessive to have that neighbor connection right next to the highway neighbor connection when there's nothing here. But yeah, eventually there's going to be an exit around here, which might end up being the terminus for this road, or alternatively this road will interchange with the exit and still connect to the south. I don't know, still have to decide that. Anyway, following the rail line or the highway will land us at this area with one of the coolest looking T interchanges that I think I've ever built. Or at least it's the only T stack that I've ever built. And yeah, it really is a lot wider than I maybe could have made it. I did my best to shrink it as much as I could, but I didn't use FlexFly, so that probably, or that maybe could have caused me to save a tile or two, probably just one tile, off of the eastern edge of this interchange. And I don't know, that's really the only tile I can think of that I know for a fact I had a good chance of saving. Apart from that, I mean, stack interchanges, they just take up a lot of space in SimCity 4. So, I'm not going to complain too much. At least I was able to fit in some nice acceleration lanes and such, which are really a staple of all my new RHW work. And as you can see, in addition to being a T interchange, there is also a full exit that you can access from pretty much any direction. Ooh, looks like there's a bit of an override problem here. Is that easily fixable? No? Ah, god damn it, I'll have to keep that in mind when I go back into this tile to actually do some work. I have to place another starter there. That really sucks. Yeah, anyway, so I kind of spoke too soon, it looks like, because you can't actually exit the freeway if you are heading eastbound, but I take it there would probably be an exit in the next tile, so then you would just get off there and you would follow one of the road 2s that connects, or well, I guess there's really just the one to follow over here. But yeah, there are definitely two Road 2s though that connect toward the north, and you can get off at this exit if you're heading southbound. It's pretty easy, you just loop around there. Same if you're heading northbound, you just take the flyover ramp, and then you get off at the same spot. And then you can also get on the highway westbound over here with this kind of tight merge, or get on eastbound over here, and the eastbound will take you either north or south. So yeah, I thought that turned out pretty cool, and man, this graphical bug is really not playing nice with me today. Yeah, I also am a huge fan of how this industrial area turned out on the other side of the highway. And the suburban neighborhood, just to the west of it, doesn't look so bad, honestly, either. I think it's just all in all a pretty good looking, low density area. Anyway, I could probably have a lot fewer graphical problems if I turned shadows off, but I figured since I'm just touring today, I might as well push the graphics to their limit. Anyway, that's all there is to see here today, and yeah, I'll meet back in the region view before we finish up. Okay, so that's it for the tours today, and I think that I'm just gonna call it a video right here as opposed to going into the tile of Manzanita and getting started on a big project that'll probably take me more than an hour anyway. So yeah, I mean, we covered a lot of ground as far as seeing everybody's cities today, and I hope that you appreciated the opportunity, and things I am sure will only continue to get more interesting as other people make more progress on this region, as I make more progress myself. So next time I will be going back into the city tile of Manzanita, and as I said in the last video, I believe I want to get started building some kind of settlement here in what's going to be the future downtown area. I probably want to build development right up to the border with Hawking as well, just for the sake of making it look a little bit clean. And as far as other projects I could do on video, I have two four-way interchanges to build here and here, so those are both going to be big and doubtless very frustrating projects. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually record those. Honestly, I might just build them before I even upload this one. But if I haven't yet, and you're interested in seeing that kind of stuff recorded, then definitely leave a comment, because I don't mind recording that stuff. I just don't think it makes for particularly the most interesting kind of footage if I'm just yelling at my computer monitor. But yeah, anyway, that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.